Hello everyone and welcome back to finally another one of my F123 hot lap and track guides. Yes, it's been a little while since the last one of these videos, but of course I've been very busy with some other projects and finally have been able to find the time to do more of these hot lap and setup guides. Of course, we've been jumping back into some league racing, having some brilliant fun doing that here on the channel, but yeah, now I want to be trying to sort of build up some more content alongside the WOR highlights that have been going live. And of course today therefore we head to round 4 of the Formula 1 season and the Baku city circuit. Of course Azerbaijan has kind of become a bit of a firm fan favourite in recent years. The last couple of races have been a little bit dull, but honestly I think this track is a fantastic learning tool for anyone trying to adjust inside F123. Of course, as always, just a couple of quick PSAs. The setups that are used in these videos are for races, not time trial. You won't be able to get the best lap on the leaderboards with these setups. They are designed so you can do 25-30 laps over the course of a race. So of course there will be some tweaks and changes just to make the car a little bit easier to handle rather than of course absolutely on the knife edge all the time. And as well, of course, you know, if you are enjoying using these setups as well, please do make sure if you aren't already you get subscribed to this channel. We're getting very close now to 10,000 subscribers, so it'd be greatly appreciated if you could help me get one step closer. And as well, you know, of course, thank you all so much as always for watching. I'm going to try and return this series now twice a week, that kind of thing, and of course we're going to be diving in with even more circuits. But yeah, like I said, get yourself subscribed and let's dive in then here finally with an Azerbaijan hot lap setup guide. Timestamps linked down below. Well, taking a look then on the leaderboards there, you can see a 1 minute 40.6 puts us in 2,500th in the world. Again, as always, floating around that top 5% lap time, of course. About 2 seconds away from the world record. Some of the times right towards the top here in Baku I'm not convinced are legit. Let me know, obviously, if any of these names you do in fact recognise. But yeah, I think obviously as well, this track definitely one of the most dependent on setups as well. And of course, you know, we're completely gearing this towards race pace there. So 140.6, to be honest, I was incredibly happy with. I reckon sensibly another couple of tenths at the absolute maximum. But in terms then of the numbers, we can see obviously standard amount of fuel in the car, 16-15 wing here. You know, you really are just trying to hang on to the car through the final sector of the lap. Of course, you need as much speed as you can possibly get. Obviously, down the straight, you want to be trying to hit that VMAX as best as possible. 59-52, pretty much standard on the differential. Of course, you know, Baku is a lot of kind of point and squirt, if you will, with the throttle. So obviously, it's all about trying to get the car straightened up on exit. So you don't need as unlocked a diff as you do around a lot of tracks because you're really trying to eliminate the wheel spin, because generally you're not getting on the throttle and changing direction all too much around this lap there. Minus 2.8, minus 1.8, 0.01 and 0.13 on the camber and the toe. Of course, again, you know, it's a pretty high-speed circuit and obviously a lot of straights as well. So the less camber you run, obviously the more angled the wheels are. So obviously that then means, of course, that you're losing speed because obviously you've got a higher surface area on the track, which therefore obviously increases the drag on the car there. And of course, the opposite effect for the toe, hence why we're running that incredibly low. Suspension, 29-19, 7 and 6, 33-34. Obviously, you really are trying to avoid the curbs here in Baku, so you can run at a ridiculously low ride height, pretty much the lowest you'll see inside F123 there, but very strong front suspension. A little bit more loose on the rear, of course, again, as you're trying to get on the throttle with so many big traction zones around this lap. 98-58 even for the brake pressure and the brake bias. That's just my standard on F123. Tweak it, slightly adjust it to whatever suits your driving style there. And 22.4 and 20.4 on the tyre pressures. Very low pressures again, because obviously this track is so traction based there. But now we've got the setup on the car, let's take a slow lap around the circuit and see what you want to be looking for. So Baku, honestly, I would argue is probably one of the best tracks for learning no line and also learning how the brakes handle on F123, just because there are so many big braking zones around this venue. Down in towards turn 1, my first golden rule: never ever use your braking marker on a shadow Unfortunately, at turn 1 here in Baku, the shadow in time trial is pretty much the perfect point. So you want to be looking at about 125 metres there. Potentially you can use that lamppost as a reference marker. Obviously you'll be in 8th gear, you'll be coming all the way down into 3rd gear on the entry, turning in rather late there. As always, you want to try to avoid that inside curb, and that outside wall on the exit is absolutely lethal as well. Can afford to short shift up 1 gear if you're trying to manage the wheel spin, and then obviously you're going to be cycling back up the gears as we head down in towards turn 2. Braking just at the brake in that fence there. Again, you want to be turning in incredibly late, trying to avoid the curbing on the inside. 2nd gear on entry, I then try to flick up into 3rd as you try and roll on the power there. Get on the DRS as early as you can as you prepare yourself to head down this next huge straight. No point really taking the car over to the left-hand side. You may as well get it angled here over on the right, and I brake just after that little black marker on the outside that separates the Armco barriers, or kind of binds them together, all the way down from 8th gear into 2nd. Obviously by the time you get on the entry, again, as soon as you clip that curb, I'm shortening up to 3rd, and then of course you allow the car to run out wide on the exit. This next corner, you'll be up in 5th gear, braking at about 60 metres out, all the way down into 2nd again, and then once more, as you reach that curbing, you're just short shifting as you try and maximise the track width. Next corner, obviously you're bringing the car all the way back over to the right-hand side. Again, I'm braking just at that black mark you can see as the Armcos connect to each other. Obviously you'll be in 6th gear there, and you want to come all the way down to 3rd, and then right as you're tucking the car in towards the wall, I like to bring it into 2nd. I like to keep the car really over to the left-hand side. That way you can flick it through the right, get the car straightened up. 3rd gear as you try and get on the throttle and avoid that outside curb. It will just upset your run. Next turn, one of the most difficult to find a braking point. I'm braking just before the orange marker there, but you can attack so much curbing as you make your way through the chicane that you can really get both the inside wheels there and even the outside wheels slightly over that curb. 2nd gear on the way through, short shift back up to 3rd on the exit, and then 4th gear as well. I'm short shifting up through, back down into 3rd gear as you reach the black box. You can leave it in 3rd gear right the way through, and then 2nd as you reach the wall at the top there. Of course, got to be so careful through here. Again, I'm trying to open up my exit, so I'm bringing it right over to the right hand side, short shift as well. This little area, you've got to be very careful with Baku on F123. This little area actually has off-road levels of grip, so you really don't want to run 2 wheels out too wide there, and want to try and keep the car with at least the inside wheels inside track limits. I don't think you'll get a warning for it, but it's just something to avoid because it really upsets the tyres and can increase the wear on the car. Of course, as we now head through the old town, keep the car over on the left-hand side, obviously through the apex. This second part, though, very different to previous F1 games. You want to be aiming to be braking at the 100-metre board, but you actually want to be splat bang in the middle of the road. Obviously, F123, the straight line braking is so much more important than it has been in previous games there. So at the 100-metre board, you're going to be getting the car slowed down. You can use all over the white line on the way in. 2nd gear on the entry. If you can leave in 3rd, I would highly recommend it, and then short shift up to 4th as you head over the exit curb there. Down the hill, keep the car pretty much pressed up against the wall, braking just after the 100-metre board as you get the car back into 3rd gear. Avoid that inside curb as best as you can, otherwise it'll upset your run, but use that exit curb as well if needed to try and get on a throttle. The final couple of corners, really obviously now you'll be back up in 7th and 8th gear. Just try and be as smooth as you can on this steer, and of course try to avoid the walls as best as possible there. We all know just how lethal that outside wall can be. And then, of course, you got clear open running back up towards the start-finish line here. Open up the DRS once again. Prepare to line up a move on the car in front, but, of course, make sure you're mentally preparing yourself for that braking zone back in towards turn 1 there, of course, just before the 100 metres. Probably the most difficult braking marker, I would say, on this lap. It's either there or the penultimate braking zone on the lap. But there we go. That's a lap slowed down here from Baku. Let's see how it looks all together. And there we go then, that is a lap of the Azerbaijan City Circuit. As mentioned, you know, this track I really do believe is one of the best inside F123 if you're trying to learn how the brakes work, and of course if you're trying to learn no line. As always, it will take time, you know, I would definitely say patience is key, and yeah, this track of course really does allow you no room for error, so if you're looking for a good test of your sort of concentration and your consistency with no braking line, this place, yeah, is absolutely brutal for it. And honestly, I still think one of the only tracks that is more difficult inside F123 than it was inside F122. But thank you all, as always, so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and yeah, we'll be back very, very soon as Formula 1 heads across the pond to Miami. Yes, one of my favourite tracks on the F1 calendar. Hopefully you guys will come back for another hot lap and track guide. A massive thank you to my Patreon supporters that you can see currently on your screens. If you want to join them from as little as £1 a month, it would be massively appreciated and you help support my work. You also get access to weekly updates from myself with everything going on behind the scenes with the channel. But yeah, a massive thank you to the names you see on your screen, and we'll be back very soon with a brand new video.